What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, and today is March 20th, 2026. And we have another live stream for you today. Please hit that thumbs up in the live stream chat if the volume is working. And today we got a special guest, Derek from Gematrinator 85. Derek, can you give us a hey or hello? See if your volume's also working.
How about a howdy doody instead?
Howdy doody. So let us know if you guys can hear both of us. I think Coffee Girl gave that thumbs up, and so did Maggie, so we're good. All right, so hello, Derek. Thanks for being here, and hello to everyone in the chat as well. We'll give it a minute and get some people in here, and then we're going to get started. I actually started off showing my slide. I gave away the secret already. I can't believe that. But yeah, anyway, today's video, as most of you already know, is going to be about the death of Chuck Norris, who actually officially died in Hawaii on March 19th. But in most of the world, it was clearly March 20th. So it's really interesting. When you die in Hawaii, it's kind of like, you kind of died on the next day, really, because almost all the world was in March 20th. I don't know exactly what time he died in Hawaii, but did you see that, Derek? Did you see exactly what time he died?
I did not. However, the fact that it was March 20th in most of the world and news did not break about his death until March 20th. We're going to see how both dates are definitely significant.
Yeah, and I think it was probably given the case that it was so late because the news didn't break over here in Europe until, I don't know, maybe 4:30 p.m. So given that the news was probably later in the day, and it was probably almost March 20th. I would say it was probably within a few hours of March 20th in Hawaii. And I just found out there's also flooding going on in Hawaii. How about that? Which does connect to the movie. What's the first movie he was in? What's it called again? The Wrecking Crew or whatever. So there's a new Wrecking Crew, and the guy who stars in that is from Hawaii, Jason Momoa. So there's actually an event going on in Hawaii as Chuck Norris dies in Hawaii. Of course, as usual, we get that kind of synchronicity. But we got 79 of you in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you're just getting in. And also make sure you guys go check out Derek's channel as well, Gematrinator 85. And so what we're going to talk about here, start off talking about is we're just talking about Hawaii, but we're going to talk about one of the biggest events that happened in Hawaii in history, which was Pearl Harbor. But before we get into that, this first part of the decode is going to be about Pearl Harbor, and then Derek's going to get into the pi connections with all of this. But what happened yesterday in the beginning of the day before Norris died, Trump was meeting with the prime minister of Japan. Of course, Japan, the country that attacked Pearl Harbor. And I'm just going to play you guys a short clip of this. Actually, I don't know. I might have to. I'm going to back out of my screen for a second. Hold on. Because I think I'm going to have to share just this screen and play the clip real fast. I just want everyone to be able to hear it. And just so you guys can hear what Trump said yesterday, because it was pretty wild. And it does make a lot of sense now, considering all these Pearl Harbor connections that we have. So let me guys know if you guys can see this screen, because sometimes it's a bit weird.
It's there.
Okay. So anyway, we're going to just play this clip real fast and show how Trump told us about Pearl Harbor. He kind of gave us the clue that there was a Pearl Harbor riddle going on. So let's just play this real fast. I'm not going to play the whole clip. I'll just let you know what happened before this. Somebody in the audience asked Trump, why didn't you tell us? And I think it was a Japanese reporter, I think. Why didn't you tell us that you were going to attack Iran? And Trump goes on and says, well, it wouldn't have been a surprise if if I told everyone. And then listen to what Trump listen to what Trump says here. Hopefully the volume's good. Let me know if it's not playing, but I think it's going to work.
knows better about surprise than Japan. Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right? He's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us, right? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay.
All right, so that's all I really need to show. I mean, if you guys want to watch the whole clip, you guys can obviously check that out. But so Trump giving us the clear Pearl Harbor connection with the Japanese prime minister. Of course, we're in the middle of Iran, and Iran equals 42 like Japan, and so does war. So we got that connection as well. And also, let me get my screen back here. So if you guys are just getting in, make sure you guys go back if you guys want to hear the clip, because now we're going to go into the connections and how this is connected with Chuck Norris. Because again, Chuck Norris, he died in Hawaii, of course, connecting to Pearl Harbor. And the first thing I'm going to show, and then I'm going to give it to Derek, is this. So check this out, guys. He died in Hawaii. He was born exactly 91 weeks and 1 day before the attack on Pearl Harbor. So there's your 9/11. Now, his death was in the news, and his death was actually on March 20th in most of the United States, except for Hawaii, on March 20th. So if you go from the date of his last movie, which, of course, was a war-type movie, you can see the military Agent Recon. It came out on June 21st, 2024. If you go from that last movie to his death in Hawaii, it's the exact same time between his birth and Pearl Harbor. So what a riddle with Pearl Harbor. And of course, the 9/11 code is here, which was the other attack on the United States in history. So you got the connection with the 9/11, you got the connection with Pearl Harbor, all kind of right there. Also, if you don't add the day here, it's 91 weeks. And that makes you think of 9/1, like the day World War II started. So there's a World War II connection, I think, there as well. But again, Trump with the Japanese prime minister talking about Pearl Harbor, and then you got the 91 weeks and 1 day, which ties in with this. So what Derek's about ready to show us is how it connects to the Pi code, because remember on 9/11/01 there was the Life of Pi movie that came out, or the book. So let's hand it on over to Derek for now, and he's going to talk more about this connection with Chuck Norris and the other Norris, Lando Norris.
That's right. Why, thank you, Cody. So with the Japanese prime minister speaking with Trump yesterday, of course, all about the Pearl Harbor riddle. As you mentioned, on Oahu, Hawaii today, there appears to be some flooding going on as well. Now, if you look at this prime minister of Japan, Sanae Takaichi, she was born exactly 19 years and 3 months after the Pearl Harbor attack. And this is just like yesterday's date, the 19th of March, 19/3. With this also being the year 2026, Pearl Harbor has gematria of 226 with capital letters used. But for me, the first thing I thought of when I saw that Chuck Norris died in connection with Pearl Harbor is that in December of last year, on Pearl Harbor Day, the 84th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attacks, Formula One driver Lando Norris, who obviously shares a last name with Chuck Norris, Lando became the world champion in Formula One, supposedly the highest level of motor racing. Now, there is a strong Mercury connection to this. Lando won the title on Chuck Norris's mercurial birthday. And of course, the Roman god of Mercury is the god of travelers. So Formula One drivers, very mercurial figures. Chuck's full name matches Mercury in gematria, and he died at age 86, which is Mercury in reverse. Also, when you measure between the birthdays of Chuck and Lando Norris, we find the number 798, which is Mercury in Latin. The name Norris matches Mercury, and he was born on the 317th day of the year, which also matches Mercury. Now, before I get into the whole pi code, it's worth pointing out that just before March 19th, I made this post explaining how March 19th was a very significant skull and bones date. And I have a very long post that goes into all the connections with skull and bones in March 19th. And no question, this is the story that is synced to that riddle. For instance, Chuck Norris was exactly 1,150 sidereal months old. This measures lunar orbits. And 115, a very significant number to Skull and Crossbones, the Skull and Bones Society, which is Masonic. But look at this. 115 is also the gematria shared between Lando and Chuck, the two Norrises. Also, the word killing equals 115. Killing also equals 319. And that's the date that Chuck Norris died, 319. In fact, Chuck had the 319 in his age on Pearl Harbor Day when Lando won the championship. And Chuck's death fell 319 days after May 5th, which is the date that Lando Norris got his first ever victory in Formula One. Now, that victory happened on the same day that his team hosted President Donald Trump in their garage. The president at the time was Joe Biden, who hosted a Star Wars figure, Mark Hamill, at the White House just before that race. And think about how the name Lando comes from the Star Wars movies. So this has all been in the same script for a very long time. Walker, Texas Ranger, with a lot of Skull and Bones connections as well. But let's talk about pi, because that's the big part here. So to start, we'll look at the show that Chuck Norris was best known for, which was called Walker, Texas Ranger. This was a series that aired from the years 93 to 2001. Which was, of course, the year of the 9/11 attacks. When Walker, Texas Ranger aired its series finale, the final episode of the show, it was on the date May 19th of 2001, which was 116 days before the 9/11 attacks. Well, the date 9/11 is simply 116 flipped upside down. That final episode also aired exactly 116 years after the death of William Huntington Russell, who was a co-founder of the Skull and Bones Society. But check this out. 116 years is also 1,392 months. And this is our first clue of a pi riddle. 1,392 is the sum of the first 314 digits of pi. And 392 is the 314th composite number. So let's talk about pi. Today's news falls on a date with 69 numerology, which is pi, circles, and eclipse. The name Norris also summing to 69. Of course, circles and eclipse also equal 314 using satanic gematria. Now, when we talk about the Skull and Bones code, it really is just the mathematics of the circle. It's all the same numbers. So, for instance, the word circle equals 223 and 322. When you write out the numbers 223 and 322, these are the first numbers to sum to 314 in the alphabetic order. Pi's first three digits. And check out Chuck Norris's initials, CN, the third and 14th letters. And look at his date of birth, 3/10/40, 314. This is all synced up with the attack on Pearl Harbor, which equals 314 reverse. Chuck Norris's last movie, which you mentioned, Cody, Agent Recon, came out 3 lunations and 14 days after his birthday. Now, a lunation, again, this measures a lunar phase, a little over 29 and a half days. Well, Chuck Norris died on his lunar birthday. So from his birthday to yesterday's date, exactly 1,064 lunar phases. Well, 12 lunar phases is a lunar year. So what this means is that Chuck was exactly 88 lunar years and 8 months old. This is the Latin gematria of 3.14888. Now, Chuck Norris first achieved international fame alongside Bruce Lee in the 1972 film The Way of the Dragon, which featured a very famous battle between Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. Chuck died 8 months and 8 days before Bruce's next birthday. And Bruce's real name was Lee Jun Fan, which sums to 88 and the 88th prime number. And of course, the number 8 is 2 circles. Now, let's continue because there's a lot more 314 to decipher. Let's go back to Lando Norris. The name Lando equals 314. So does Lando Norris and Chuck Norris. Well, Lando Norris was born exactly 3,114 weeks after Chuck. And today is a span of 3 months and 14 days after Lando Norris won the World Drivers' Championship. He won that championship at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which is 314. When he won the championship, the United States was 13,014 weeks old. The United States was also 91,101 days old. And those are the same 6 digits. Well, 5 digits, because I can count. That's the same 5 digits in the date 9/11/01, which is the day Life of Pi was published. Life of Pi published on the same day as the 9/11 attacks. Now, a huge number connected to pi is 227. Just look at the book Life of Pi, where the main character survives for 227 days. Alt 227 gives you the pi symbol. And this is because 22 divided by 7 is the smallest equation you can use to get the first 3 digits of pi. The number of degrees in a circle, 360, 227. And this equation also works in gematria. 314, right? So look at this. You pointed out the 9/11, Cody, 91 weeks and 1 day from Chuck Norris's birth to the Pearl Harbor attack. That's also 20 months and 27 days. Today is 20 months and 27 days after the release of his last film. But look at this. If you go back to the date 227, just last month, Chuck Norris was 31,400 days old on 227. Which means on 314 or Pi Day, he was 31,415 days old. And that's the first 5 digits of pi.
And also on, just to add, also on the death of the 86-year-old Khamenei for Iran, he was 31401. So he was it still has the, the digits is 34101. So, and Khamenei, he died at 86, like Norris did. So I think there's definitely a bigger riddle between those two guys.
For sure. In fact, I wanted to measure between their birthdays to see if there was anything obvious. And it doesn't really jump, but I'm sure there's more connections there.
I did notice that if you add the day, it's 10 months and 21 days. Or what is it? 10 months and 21 days between their birthdays. I think that's first of all, that's what's his name's birthday?
Netanyahu,
and that's the day, I believe, that the Japan prime minister took office.
It is, yes.
So I think there's something there with that.
Sure. So just to wrap my part of this up, last year I did this big mega post on the movie Life of Pi and the book, and explained how it was all connected to Skull and Bones. But there's also another movie connected to this same riddle. That would be the 1998 film Pi. And look at this. The main character of the film Pi was born 10,314 days after Chuck Norris. And on Chuck Norris's birthday, just last week, Sean Gillette, the main character of that film, he turned exactly 3,014 weeks old, like 3.14. Now, Chuck Norris's real name is Carlos, which equals 68 in ordinal. And he died on a date with primary numerology of 68. Chuck Norris and Lando Norris both equal 68. Sean Gillette was born in the year 68. And by the way, he shares my birthday. Well, the 68th prime number is 337. And when the movie Pi came out, Sean Gillette was 30 years and 37 days old. And in that film, he played a mathematician, which equals 337, just like the word pi. Yeah, there's more connections here as well. The first number without the word and with 314 gematria is 777. That's how old the Japanese prime minister was when Lando won the championship on Pearl Harbor Day. 777 months old. And if you look at the number of days between their birthdays, you get 4 digits of pi, 14,130. So again, there's a lot more. I will link this post in the chat once again. And because the rest of it is just a little bit of extra. But again, all the way going back to Chuck Norris's birthday, right? 3/10/40. This pi code is extremely prevalent.
Well, I think this is actually going to fit perfectly because when you guys think of pi, we think of that famous old song, American Pie. And considering we're talking about Pearl Harbor, America, American Pie, is America about ready to come full circle? Or in a way, what the United States did to Iran is kind of like maybe making it come full circle in a way. This time the United States gets the first attack, I guess you could say. But I think it has, and as you guys are going to see, we're actually going to tie this to plane crashes. So obviously American Pie was all because of, and let's just bring that up while we're here. The Day the Music Died is what it's actually called. But the song that was written based off of that would have been the American Pie. So you actually, actually it fits perfect. I didn't even think about connecting it like this until just now, but it really makes sense why there's a huge plane crash riddle with Chuck Norris. And I'm going to try to build that case. And guys, just so you know, I don't have as many slides as I normally have. So, but let's just go back to this again, the Pearl Harbor thing. Of course, planes were involved in Pearl Harbor as well, and so were they also on 9/11. So you have a huge plane riddle. And whenever I talk about planes, I'm also thinking that sometimes they also mean like a plane of existence too, not just a airplane. But anyway, so now that we know that Chuck Norris died, and what Derek just said, all the connections with Lando Norris, who won that championship on. And again, how much did we talk about that day, guys? We talked so much about 12/7/2025 because it was 9/11/01 days after the United States. And so it's interesting that this is where we're coming to now. And now what I want to really get at here, first of all, is this movie that he released in 1985, which again is the year Derek was born.
Indeed.
And so check out so you guys remember last month, right before Iran was attacked, there was this news story on the 25th. So it was 3 days before. And I'll just read it. An armed maritime confrontation occurred between a patrol vessel of the Cuban Border Control and a motorboat registered in the United States near Cayo Falcones off the northern coast of Villa Clara province within the Cuban territorial waters. Cuban authorities stated the occupants of the motorboat opened fire after being intercepted, wounding the commanding officer of the patrol vessel. Cuban forces returned fire, killing 5 people and wounding 5 others. So this story is about a Cuban forces basically killing people on a small vessel coming from the United States. Now, I want you guys to look at the plot of the Chuck Norris film, Invasion USA. Again, came out in 1985. A group of Cuban refugees is on a boat sailing for the United States and is at first met by what appears to be the U.S. Coast Guard. So this is essentially the exact same thing, except it's reversed. In this case, it was people coming from the United States to Cuba in real life on March 25th or on February 25th this year. But in the movie, it's reversed, and it's the Cuban refugees trying to go to the United States. So think about that, guys. Is that not pretty mind-blowing considering that Chuck Norris just died less than a month after this? And this movie's all about an invasion of the United States through Miami, essentially, by Cubans and Russians, which, brings back, and just people in the chat are talking about landing, making landfall and invasion. But yeah, so let me just finish reading the rest of this plot. Cuban refugees are on a sailboat for the United States and first met with the U.S. Coast Guard. The captain of the vessel declares the refugees are welcome to the United States, but the guardsmen open fire on them and take several bags of cocaine. So they essentially killed all the people on the boat, just like in real life. Now, what ends up happening after this is, I haven't seen this movie actually, but from what I understand is, if you look at the previews and all the thing, it ends up being that all these Cuban soldiers, all these Russian and Cuban soldiers invade Florida, and that's why they call it Invasion USA. So we have this clear riddle, guys, of an invasion on the USA. We have the Pearl Harbor connection, which we clearly already showed. We have this connection to, this Cuban vessel that just and Trump's been talking about Cuba for the last couple of weeks, like when he's going to invade it. I believe Cuba's still in the middle of a blackout. I'm not sure if they are, but I think they are. But this is what really the mind-blowing part to me is that just last week, or a little bit more than a week ago, the event that we covered was in Miami. Okay, it was, and this is clearly how this is connected, because How many times did I talk about March 20th? March 20th. It's connected to Pat Riley. It's connected to Barron Trump, of course, but we talked about Aleister Crowley and Salima as well. But remember how the Heat player, Bam Adebayo, scored 83 points on Chuck Norris's birthday, guys. And so what are the odds that, 10 days later, we're talking about Chuck Norris, who's born on that day? So on his 86th birthday, Bam Adebayo scores 83 points, becoming the second all-time leading scorer in a game in history. And look at how many days or months and days Chuck Norris is born before the guy who scored 83 on his birthday. 688 months and 9 days. 6889 is the 83rd square number. So essentially, the amount of days, months, and days between these two guys breaks down to 83 times 83. And again, the guy we're measuring to scored 83 points on Chuck Norris's birthday. And don't forget, this was Bad Bunny's birthday. It was also, who else's birthday was it? Bad Bunny. Am I forgetting one? What the important one I'm forgetting? March 10th. Whose birthday is March 10th? Derek?
You're quizzing me. There was the coach of the Pistons was born on March 10th, but I don't think that's who you're asking about.
No, who am I thinking of? I lost it. It was the Super Bowl performer. Oh yeah, Bin Laden. That's what I was getting at. So yeah, not only was this the birthday of Chuck Norris, it's the birthday of Osama bin Laden. So yeah, let's just bring him up, just so you guys, just so you guys can see his birthday. March 10th, 1957. Okay, so, and he's obviously connected with planes, as we're going to get into. And as Derek mentioned, 9/11/01, The Life of Pi came out. So the foundation for this decode was pi, and I guess it's good it was, because it really kind of all connects. But anyway, what are the odds that they're born 83 square duration apart? And again, what ended up happening? What ended up happening to Chuck Norris? He essentially died. Pat Riley was in Miami, so it was already his birthday when Chuck Norris died, even though Chuck Norris essentially died on March 19th in Hawaii. But Pat Riley, I told you guys when he broke this record, he did it at Pat Riley Court. And I showed you guys that March 20th was Pat Riley's birthday. So that's why I was thinking something was probably going to go down connecting to this on March 20th. And this is what we get. We get the death of Chuck Norris, whose birthday was March 10th. I mean, just how perfect. And it's how perfect that the two guys involved in this share that 83. And of course, 83 is a number of death. Murder equals 83. Brotherhood of Death, 83, I think. Or is it the Brotherhood of Death? But yeah, it's just crazy. And so now that we know, the March 10th thing, we know that Osama's birthday is March 10th. And again, he's connected with planes and crashing and pi. Well, if you check out, so again, shout out to Casey Jones Astrology, who I think is in the chat now, and Bobby Simpson. Yeah, there he is. He's in the chat. Shout out to him, because all us decoders were kind of in the chat, in our Discord chat, kind of throwing all kinds of stuff out there. And we realized, or Bobby realized, that Chuck Norris is actually born on March 10th, which actually is the date of a very interesting plane crash. And the reason this plane crash is so important is because this is the day that Flight 302 crashed. And this is the day that Donald Trump turned exactly 302 Mercury years old. So if you think about that, that's a very significant day. Trump actually had his 302nd Mercury birthday on Flight 302's crash. And again, Mercury is the god of transportation and trickery. Both things that are associated with 9/11. And again, this was his birthday also, right? Osama.
Yeah, and also, Cody, that date, 3/10/19, you have the digits 3119, and the 9/11 attacks were 3,109 days, or 3,119 days after the World Trade Center bombing.
Yeah, that's a great connection. And that kind of reminds you of the number 319 too, just with that extra one in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we
and
saw that
so
they'll throw an extra one in the middle of a number. Like a couple of
Yeah.
the measurements I had was 3114, but it was
Right.
between Lando and Chuck Norris, who both summed to 314. So yeah, it's absolutely
Yeah,
connected.
absolutely. Yeah. And so with 302 crashing on Trump's 302nd Mercury birthday, which was, again, Chuck Norris's 79th birthday, which is crazy because from his 79th birthday and the crash of Flight 302 to the death of Chuck Norris, 7 years and 9 days, reflecting the age that he turned on the day. And when you break that number 79 down, it breaks down to the 22nd prime, which of course is the gematria of crash.
Yep.
So this slide pretty much sets the stage for why I want to make this really about plane crashes now, because let's go back and let's just take a look at Chuck Norris's. I'm not sure how accurate all of these are, but there's a lot of movie. Let's just go to his filmography here. And first of all, he was in a movie called The Delta Force, 1986, where he plays Scott McCoy, and he leads a mission to rescue hostages from a hijacked airplane. While the film is indicative of a plane movie in his career, the central threat is terrorism. So this fits perfectly with everything we're talking about here. So Chuck Norris is but his last movie that he's ever going to be releasing. So here's the Delta Force, again, about a plane hijacking, Palestinian. So you got those connections. And then if you go to his last movie, I think this is the real clue. His last movie literally is about a plane. Okay, so his last ever movie, which is going to come out after his death, well, technically it's come out already in Australia last year. If you actually look into it, it came out on November 13th, 2025.
It's Lando
check out the name of this.
birthday.
It is, really?
Yeah.
No way. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that actual article where it says it came out that day. Zombie plane release. November 13th, 2025. So that's really Lando Norris's birthday, huh?
Yeah, run it yourself.
Wow. Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up here. So guys, can I get a big thumbs up in the chat for Derek for, not even knowing this, but then talking about Lando Norris and then finding out that his last, oh my goodness. Look at this, guys. Can I get a mind blown in the chat? Lando Norris's birthday is the last movie that Chuck Norris ever going to star in, came out on his birthday, man.
Yeah, and it came out in Australia. And of course, the first race of the season, which just happened last week, is in Australia.
Oh, really? Wow. Just crazy, man. Anyway, that just brings it all together, really. Anyway, so zombie plane, right? This is about a plane crash, so it connects perfectly to the Pi connection, the plane crash, the day the music died, the Pi, American Pie, 9/11, 9/11/01, the plane crashes, and the book Life of Pi came out. Lando Norris, the connection we just showed. But also, is Stephen Curry in this movie? Oh, it's a different Stephen Curry, but there's a guy named Stephen Curry in this movie. And of course, Stephen Curry is a basketball player born on Pi Day. So that's crazy. But anyway, the point is here, not to make this too long, is that his whole career is centered around plane crash. If you look in the Expendables 2 movie, look what happens here. After New Orleans, Billy tells Barney that he intends to retire at the end of the month. Later, Barney is forced to accept a mission from CIA operative Mr. Church to retrieve an item from a downed airplane in Albania. And that's a bit interesting because I'm in Albania right now. And he died in Kauai, Hawaii, which is the only island I've lived on in Hawaii. I went to Hawaii and I spent like 2 months on Kauai. That's where Chuck Norris died. And anyway, a plane crash in Albania in this movie, okay? And then if you go, what's other one? There's more. Delta Force I had told you about. Also, Invasion USA. I believe there's even a plane crash and again, it mentions Miami, right? It mentions terrorists and it mentions martial law, right? And martial law is interesting because Mars, of course, all connects to the war going on right now. But Bruce Lee, let me just show this. And again, shout out to Bobby Simpson. But if you measure from the date that Bruce Lee died, again, the co-star of Chuck Norris, to the date Chuck Norris died, it's exactly 28 Martian years, guys. So these two stars from the Way of the Dragon movie died exactly Martian years apart. Martial law, okay? And in this movie, Invasion USA, they declare martial law in Florida. I just told you we just had a Cuban incident, which is very similar to this last month, right before this whole war started. Yeah, 28 years later is about zombies. Interesting. So yeah, 28 Martian years after Bruce Lee died, and I just showed you his last movie is called Zombie Plane. And the zombie movie is called 28 Years Later. Wow. That's a whole nother layer to think about. But yeah, martial law, and again, the Martian years between Bruce Lee. But now this takes us back to his first movies, where I'm going to connect the plane crashes to the fall of the dragon in the Bible. Again, one day before, or actually on the day of this, a very big event occurred. Remember, we've already connected this to a basketball event. We've already connected this perfectly with the Bam Adebayo event. Now, that was on March 10th on Chuck Norris's birthday. But yesterday, on the day Chuck Norris technically died, I mean, it was already March 20th here, really, but we had LeBron James, King James, tying the all-time record of 1611 regular season games to go with the 1611 Bible. Now, why is this so interesting? Because, again, King James, but this is connecting to royalty now, and this is where we're going to tie in Lucifer and royalty with the number 319.
It's worth pointing out, too, that 1611 has the same digits as 91101 upside down.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's just a big bridge between it, too. And even Lando Norris's name sums to 1116. So it just goes on.
And another thing that you reminded me of here that I would like to remember to point out, and let me just open up a new window so I can just refresh this. But so check out LeBron James. We're talking about LeBron James doing this huge record yesterday. And check out LeBron James and Pearl Harbor.
Bingo.
I mean, that's what in gematria, that's what we call a super match.
Yep.
So what are the odds of that, guys? We're talking about Pearl Harbor. Trump mentions Pearl Harbor yesterday. LeBron James ties King James for 1611 games. And LeBron James is a super match with Pearl Harbor. Also, World War equals 114. And think about World War Z, like zombies. So we have kind of this, reminds me of that movie, World War Z. And so, yeah, so what's up with this LeBron James thing? And again, I forgot to mention, what team did LeBron James tie the 1611 record against? The Heat. So the same team that we already connected here was involved in LeBron James' record yesterday. So again, this stuff is all perfect, guys. We know it's, and then again, we've already connected this crash with Trump, but now let me just kind of bring all this together of what my main point is here. So let me first show you this before we get too much into that. Let me go to the Latin cipher and show you the gematria of Chuck Norris. And you'll see it equals 573, okay? And check out the gematria of Prince of Darkness. 573. So Chuck Norris equals Prince of Darkness, which is interesting. Of course, that could be Lucifer or Satan, right? And the fall of Satan. And we're talking about plane crashes here. Yeah, and actually Zenith of the Alpha's in the chat. I'm getting ready to bring up Zenith of the Alpha's video because thanks to Zenith of the Alpha, I knew a lot about this 319. But yeah, Chuck Norris equals Prince of Darkness. But actually, let me go do that now because Zenith of the Alpha is here in the chat. Let me go to Zenith's channel and bring up his video. And make sure you guys check out, I guess he already posted a video 20 minutes ago, which this is worth checking out as well. But let me go to he posted this a day ago. And I don't think he knew this was going to connect. But now that we've already brought the King James connection in and we brought the Lucifer connection in, I want you guys to see how this is kind of all going to come together with the royal family and Lucifer. So remember, King Charles, Chuck is a form of Charles. And again, here I am back on this Charles theme. Remember when Charlie Kirk died, I followed this Charles riddle for months. But again, his name is Carlos, which is a form of Charles. And of course, Chuck is as well. So the first thing I thought when this guy died is, oh, King Charles riddle again. I've been watching Prince William for over a month now since Migu revealed that the Super Bowl, yeah, Prince Bruce Lee died in Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Migu's in the chat now dropping that. I did see that. So there's your other connection. Because again, Way of the Dragon also featured Bruce Lee. He was born in Queen Elizabeth Hospital. But the fact that Chuck Norris died on 319 is a tribute to what Zenith of the Alpha has been talking about for a long time, because the king, and let's just remember, before he was the king, he was the Prince of Wales. And that's super important because the current Prince of Wales is William. And I've been talking about William so much recently. But what's on the flag of Wales? It's the dragon. And that could also bring you in mind of the fall of Satan, right? But again, what I'm getting at is that before King Charles was the king of England, he was the Prince of Wales, the dragon, okay? Now, he was born on the 319th day of the year, guys, King Charles. And as Zenith pointed out, when King Charles was coronated, it was on May 6, 2023. And if you went 319 days after his coronation, it lands on March 19, 2024. Now, what's interesting about that is it doesn't work this year. Because it was a leap year, I think it actually makes it different, because if you actually measure from March 6th last year to March 19th, or May 6th last year to March 19th this year, it's actually 318 span days, so one off. Which is interesting because Charles' initials are CR, that's his cipher, which is 318. Because I've connected Charles to the number 318 as well. But Prince, who died on Queen Elizabeth's birthday, and again, Bruce Lee, the co-star with in the Way of the Dragon, let's just bring that back up. Again, the dragon, Wales. Okay? So he died he was born in Queen Elizabeth Hospital, 421. Well, when did Prince die? The guy who had the song called 319. He died, well, Bruce Lee, or Prince died on 421, which is, again, Queen Elizabeth's birthday. But also this, not only was it the coronation 319 days after Charles, or before 319, if you go back 319 days, again, shout out Zenith, from May 6th coronation of King Charles, it was William's birthday. All right. And again, he talks about here how Prince had the song 319. It talks about Prince is dead, Prince is dead. And you guys will have to, go watch Zenith's whole video. I'm not going to go over every detail here, but I even did a video about the 319 connection. Prince died 319 days after his birthday on 421. Let's see. And of course, he had that song, I Would Die For You. which is 421. Let's see. And then what's this? No, also something about, I'm not sure. Is this Prince's girlfriend or something? I'm not sure. Again, you guys gonna have to go watch this video. But what's interesting about this is the 398 is the 319th composite number. And check out what the gematria of plane crash is, or sorry, airplane crash. It's 398. And 398 is the 319th composite. We're getting right back to this 319 again. And again, this 319, Zenith has already showed this before. If you go from March 19th, 2025 to Queen Elizabeth's birth, it's 398 days. So the whole royal family is connected with 319. So that's why Chuck Norris's death on 319 is all connected to Lucifer, who you could say in the Bible, people consider him the king of the world, right? Lucifer, kind of the king of this realm. Well, look at what happened on 3/19/1982. And I'm going to get to your comments in a little bit, guys, because I know you all are dropping crazy comments in the chat. I'm missing them probably. Oh, yeah. Chuck Norris died at the age of 31,421 days. I'm trying to find Widow's Son's comment here. Shout out to Widow's Son. I just realized 319 is pi backwards. Huh. Yeah. That's a great connection. So, yeah, let's see. Yeah, no problem, Zenith. Great work. I mean, again, without Zenith of the Alpha, I would have never known this 319 stuff. So, but check this out. I just showed you that Prince of Darkness equals Chuck Norris. Now, who's the Prince of Darkness? Ozzy Osbourne. Now, that connects us to pi too, Derek, right? Because Ozzy Osbourne died on 22/7. And what are the first two letters of both his first and last name? 0, O, and O, which is the circle.
Exactly.
And Rambo's done a whole bunch of work on Ozzy's death and the pi and the 22/7 and the cycle stuff. But what
my
makes
video
that
on Ozzy was all about pi too.
Right. And what makes that more crazy is going back to the royal family. Ozzy died on whose birthday? Yeah, he died on Prince George of Wales. So another Prince of Wales, guys. Another Prince of the Dragon. All right. And so Ozzy died there. But again, considering that Chuck Norris equals Prince of Darkness, look who died in a plane crash on March 19th, the year that William was born, 1982. On March 19th, 1982, the guitar player for Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, died in a plane crash, exactly 44 years before Chuck Norris. And 319 is also written 193 in England, which is the 44th prime number. But again, the king equals 319. Killing equals 319. Lucifer, 319. Lucifer falls like a plane falls. The Prince of Darkness. Ozzy's dead, and now Chuck Norris is dead. Now, I didn't even look to see yet how many days after the death of Ozzy. That would be 240 days. Trying to think if I saw, and I have been seeing some 240s. The 243 is interesting, or the 241 breaks down to the 53, which kind of reminds me of the Tower card, which does come crashing down. But also, hey, maybe there's something here, Derek.
Oh, here it is. No. Ozzy and Chuck were born 3,190 days apart.
Wait, so what's that again?
12/3/48, which is Ozzy's birthday, to Chuck on 3/10 of 1940.
Okay, and let's see, Chuck, where is he? Chuck. Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my goodness. Is that right? I got that right?
Yeah.
Guys, I've been talking about 319. Chuck Norris born 319 days after Ozzy. Oh my gosh. Man, can I get some mind blows in the chat and a thumbs up for Derek, and again a thumbs up for Zenith, because without Zenith we would not know, or I would not know about this 319 stuff. So this clearly shows us, and again, who's Randy Rhoads? And this takes a really deep dive now, because who is starring in WrestleMania next month, Derek? It's Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
And so there's a whole riddle here with the WWE that I'm going to have to probably do a whole video about. Because remember, Cody Rhodes is King Charles. I've shown that. Cody Rhodes is CR. Chuck Norris's first two names are CR, Carlos Ray. King Charles Cypher is CR, okay? But yeah, I mean, how crazy is that, guys? I'm talking about 319, had no idea. I didn't even have time to look into the date duration between these two. And then of course it ends up being 319. But again, here's an image from my video like 2 years ago during the Olympics, the Summer Olympics in France. I had done all kinds of this. I connected this 319 with the royal family. Remember, Prince was 30,019 weeks old when he died, and he was 319 days after his birthday. King Charles born on the 319 days of the year. There's even more, but the point is, this 319, in my mind, goes back to Lucifer and connects back to this crash stuff. Now, I go ahead, Derek. Do you have something to say?
No, that was my hood scraping against the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
But what's crazy about Randy Rhoads, look at his middle name, William. Again, I've been talking about Crowley, right? And we're going back again to the Crowley stuff. What is today, guys? It's Thelema New Year. It's the New Year for Crowley. It's Baron William Trump's birthday. And the middle name of the guy who died 44 years ago is Randall William Rhoads. Again, more Williams. And again, this was 1982. So he died how many days before? Let me just look this up real fast. Well, doesn't that mean that he died 319? Hold on. So he died. Oh yeah, I was thinking wrong, but so it's 13 weeks and 3 days before William was born, or 94 days. Could be 95 also. I'll have to think more about that. But there's got to be something there. We're talking about the same year. A guy named William connects to Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness, the Prince of Wales. Prince of Darkness died on the Prince of Wales' birthday, Prince George. Also, look, connecting to William. William has that day. He's born the day leaving 193 days in the year. So there's probably something more to that, but the point is, same year, same connection. Middle name is William. Mr. Crowley. Today is all about Crowley with the new year. But yeah, it just makes me think now. So I'm unfortunately I forced this decode a little bit today because I had all this connections with, but I really think that this Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes thing is like one of the biggest parts of this, because just last week, Randy Orton attacked Cody Rhodes and left him a bloody mess. And now we have this clear connection with Chuck Norris dying and connection to Randy Rhodes' airplane crash. So I don't know. And again, who is Randy Orton? Randy Orton is the Viper, the snake, kind of reminds you of the trickster like Lucifer. We talked about Mercury a little bit. Mercury has the caduceus with the snakes on it. So yeah, I'm just giving that a bit of a hint because I think I'll have to do a whole video on this. And think about it, a shocking attack. Randy Orton carries out a shocking attack on Cody Rhodes. And Trump yesterday was talking about a surprise attack. And Randy Orton, what was I thinking? I think Randy Orton is born on April 1st, April Fool's Day. How about that? Trickster Day. But yeah, anyway, the big part of this I think I've covered. Let me jump into the chat a little bit and see what you guys are saying. Okay, everyone, I've got my eyes on the chat. If anyone, whatever comments I missed that are super relevant to all this, please let me know. Drop your comments now so I can see them. Derek, do you have anything else to add?
Not really. I think my post covered most of my angles.
Okay. Yeah, and also the day that he died yesterday, Elvis bought Graceland. Elvis bought Graceland on March 19th. 3 times 19 equals 57. Oh, Elvis bought Graceland on 3/19/57. Interesting. The Bart to the Simpsons, Bart to the Future episode was on 3/19. Yeah, it was. I remember that. Does anyone else have anything? Yeah, Will I Am. That's why I always tell you the will is all about Aleister Crowley. That's why today is Baron William's birthday, because Aleister Crowley was all about do what thou wilt, will. That's why Wilt Chamberlain is involved in this. Also, I do have another slide to share, a story that happened at the beginning of the day that I find relevant. This was the video I was going to do. And think about how the last name Norris sounds a lot like Horus. And today is the anniversary of the invocation of Horus for Aleister Crowley. But check this out. March 20th, right? The top headline on CNN at the beginning of the day was oil rises to $110 as Israel strikes Iran on Persian New Year. And it was crazy to me because 110 is the gematria of the phrase oil rises. It's also the 79th day of the year, which is the gematria of oil. They called it Persian New Year, which equals 79. And today is the first day of spring, which equals 79. And today is the 20th birthday of Baron William, which William equals 79 and 110. So this whole thing is about William. And again, yesterday when LeBron James broke the record, it was all about William Shakespeare. Remember Psalms 46, where 46 words from the beginning and 46 words from the end are shake and spear. William Shakespeare equals 79, I believe, if you type it in his full name. Without the extra S. Yeah, so William Shakespeare 79. William 79. But check this out. Trump is 79 years and 279 days old, and his son is turning 20 on the 20th. And when you turn 20 on the 20th, it's your golden birthday. When you turn the age of your birth date, it's called the golden birthday. Well, what's the 79th element? Gold. Today is March 20th. Baron turns 20. And again, my whole last decode was about the 20th card in Aleister Crowley's deck, which is the Aeon, which is Horus, which is Baron. So everything goes back to William. Everything right now I feel like is connecting to William. This is why Randy Rhoads' middle name connects to this, William. And that's why this all seems to connect to Prince William as well. Let's see. Again, shout out to Casey Jones. Chuck Norris was 40. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say this. Chuck Norris was 42 Martian years old on the 302 plane crash. Lightning equals 302 in Hebrew. Yeah, so remember how I told you guys earlier, Trump was 302 Mercury years on the plane crash on Norris's birthday? Well, as Casey's pointing out, on that day, Chuck Norris was 42 Martian years. Well, last year when Trump attacked Iran Trump attacked Iran last year in 2025 on his Martian birthday. So which was the same age that Chuck Norris was when the Flight 302 crashed. And of course, Iran equals 42, Japan equals 42, war 42. Let's see. Or Horus is like hours, yeah, like time. Yeah, please hit those like buttons, guys. I'm going to go for about another. Derek, you can get off whenever you want. I'm going to go for about another 10 or 15 minutes. I know you probably have other stuff to do, but
I can hang out till about 5. So
okay.
11 your time.
All right, cool. Is anyone? Well, I just wanted to see if maybe quickly, if maybe Casey Jones wanted to jump on the stream, or Widow's Son. I don't know if you guys are still in the chat, or see if anyone else wanted to jump on the stream real fast, because I know everyone else had a bunch of great connections. Chuck's real name's Carlos, which is Charles. His last movie was on Prince William's birthday. Oh, yeah. Guys, so we were talking about, I forgot that. So the last movie that I measured to here, whose birthday was that on? Of course it was on Prince William's birthday. Of course. Again, just proving my point even more. Prince William, Prince of Darkness. Yeah, that's what I mean. Prince of Wales, the dragon that falls, right? In the book of Revelation. And let's not also forget this connection between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, because Cuba, where is Cody Rhodes from? His mother's from Cuba. And I showed you guys how the Chuck Norris movie is about Cuba and like the invasion USA. And remember, Cody Rhodes is all about the United States. His whole theme is the American nightmare. And Cody's Cuban, and he's born in 1985. Well, when did the Invasion USA movie come out? 1985, and it was about Cuba. Cody Rhodes has that Cuban heritage. It was filmed in Atlanta. Cody Rhodes grew up in Atlanta. And again, I've already connected Cody Rhodes so many times with the royal family and King Charles. I still haven't figured out Randy Orton, but actually I think all this has helped me understand why Randy Orton's part of this. I think the whole connection is Randy Rhodes. I'm pretty sure this is where it all connects back to. This is why, because Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes have a huge history together from Cody Rhodes' early days. In fact, Randy Orton was one of the first people to get in Cody Rhodes' father's face when Cody Rhodes came up to the WWE. And just think about how Randy Orton is the Viper, and he strikes suddenly, the RKO out of nowhere. So,
and just like our government officials, all these guys are born into it. Randy Orton, a 3rd generation, Cody Rhodes, a 2nd generation.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, WrestleMania 42 is happening on the former, now dead, Iran leader's birthday. And again, Roman Reigns will be 42 prime old on that day. And he's also going to be fighting. Let's see. I have a video of Prince William calling himself the Prince of Darkness. Really? Deprogram Media says that in the chat. There's a video. Really? Can I look it up somewhere? I'm not going to watch it now, but I'll look for it. Let me think about what was I going to say? There was something else I really wanted to say here about this Cody Rhodes thing. The Cuba connection. I don't remember now, but the point is, I'm going to have to look into next, and WrestleMania is exactly pretty much a month from now. So Casey Jones says he's pooped out. Yeah, no problem. You don't have to come on. I just thought I'd throw out there the opportunity. I would like to do a Decoders roundtable at some point soon and have a roundtable been a while since we did that. I'm glad to have Derek back on today, at least.
Yeah, I'm usually game for those.
Because I don't know, how long has it been since we did that? I remember it's probably been 2 years maybe even by now since we did that. I did that Decoders roundtable. Yeah. Oh yeah. Cuba's in a blackout. That's right. That's what I was going to talk about. Cuba's in a blackout, and Bad Bunny's birthday is March 10th, which is Chuck Norris's birthday. And what did Bad Bunny do at the Super Bowl? He climbed on electric poles, which were blowing. Bam Adebayo in Miami on March 10th scores 83 points. Yeah, I want to get Widow's Son on the round table, Casey Jones Astrology, Derek, Rambo, AJ from Ball Don't Lie, as many people that would want to come on. Maybe we can get Migu to come on, but I know he likes to be shy. Let's see. I'm just looking for a few more comments and then we'll start wrapping it up, guys. Strong's 319 is, however you say that word, Akarith, the last or the end, the future, also prosperity.
Posterity.
Oh, posterity, not posterity. I see. End time. Okay. Yeah, and the Cuban thing, I wouldn't be surprised if now that Chuck Norris died, we see something more go on with Cuba now, because it's kind of been foreshadowing. Trump's been talking about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's coming soon as well to a theater near you. And again, I think that's why Cody Rhodes is kind of, again, in the spotlight now, because his Cuban connection that he has, and maybe something more is going to happen with that. But the Lando Norris thing, just to go back to that real fast, I can't believe his birthday is the same day that movie came out. And that's one day before King Charles' birthday.
Yep.
But yeah, you might have to add that one to your post there, right, Derek?
Well, that's the challenge with the blog is, what do I put in? What do I keep out? You know, a lot of the times I start doing these posts, and much like your videos, what you think will just be a small, quick project turns into this spiraling decode that starts connecting all of these different elements that absolutely are connected. The question is, like, for me, is always, how relevant to this story is it? And is it worth going through the work of putting it in there? And
well, I would say Lando Norris's birthday being the last movie that Chuck Norris aired is definitely worth because I don't even think it would take much to add that in there, right?
I thought you were talking about the Prince Charles connection.
Oh no, I was talking about the Lando Norris's birthday.
Yeah, that I'm gonna add in for sure.
Yeah, the King Charles thing, I think I got most of those connect. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot. To be honest, guys, I didn't even cover. This is not my most extensive decode, but I think I tried to hit the symbolism of it. I mean, think about zombie plane and think about the plane stuff, the crashing, Lucifer falling. Oh, the one big thing I forgot to mention is if you go from this death, which I think I mentioned in the chat to you guys, Derek, but if you go from his death to the next blood moon, it was 18 days. And what happens in Luke 10:18? It's the fall, right? So I think that's another really significant part, because again, it's going to be a long time till our next blood moon. We just had our last one, which was right after the attack. So I think that's a big part of it, the 10:18 Luke connection. Also, guys, this probably goes with my Graceland stuff, and everything I've been talking about. Remember, I told you today, Aleister Crowley was turning the 166 hexagonal number, and Baron Trump's birthday is the 20th today, and that's in Aleister Crowley's ciphers. It's 166 Baron Trump, 20th equals 166. That's the Aeon card. Lady Frida Harris is the one who drew the cards for Crowley. So this is all connected to that too. And I know that Derek knows how big the 166 is with 9/11 too, right?
Absolutely. Twin Towers.
Right. So, I mean, that's Crowley's age today, that's pretty big. And this is on the anniversary. This is the only time it will ever line up that perfectly. This is the anniversary of his invocation of Horus, and it will be when it lines up with Baron's birthday being the 20th, like the card, the Aeon card. So yeah, I think that this whole thing with Baron Trump this is kind of what I didn't know what to expect. C19, that's a good connection. It's 319, C19. I didn't really know what to expect with this March 20th date. I obviously didn't expect Chuck Norris to be the one. You can never really tell, but this is kind of what I was looking for. And it obviously connects to Crowley. I haven't even looked deeper into all the Crowley connections, to be honest. Chuck died 8381 days before 22749. 22749 is the 40, or 227 is the 49th prime. 8381. Okay. Wait, what's 8381? Oh, yeah, like the points. I get you. 83 points, passing Kobe's 81. Which is also the significance of this day as well, because Pat Riley, the coach or the owner of the Miami Heat, turns 81 today, and the Invocation of Horus by Aleister Crowley turns 122. And when did Kobe score 81 points? On 122. So as usual, so many puzzle pieces to put together. And yes, I mentioned Prince died 421, like for you in an elevator, right? Well, an elevator takes you up and down. I wonder if he was going down when he died in an elevator. I did notice that he was Chuck Norris was in a movie called Hellbound, which would kind of fit in with that theme. But with all the movies he was in, I'm sure there's even more to this in many ways. But me and Derek did our best with the 5 hours that we had to try to put it together. That's for sure.
Yeah, before we go, if you want to just maybe throw my blog up on the screen real quick, I just want to mention that I haven't been doing videos lately, but we did update the blog on gematrinator.com.
I like it, actually. I like it.
Yeah, thanks. Try to make it look a little bit more like a news site. You'll see the featured posts. So the one that I just covered today with Chuck Norris is up here already. Another big story from yesterday was Iran publicly executing this championship wrestler. And this was all connected to the Iranian championship wrestler in WWE, the Iron Sheik. So unpack the big riddle with the number 116 there. We actually just had the winner of the 116th, or let me rephrase that, the 116th different race winner in F1 history this past weekend. So yeah, we just split everything up a little bit, gave it some feature images for all the posts. And this has always, been my focus. I've always been more of a writer than a video producer, I guess you could say. And also, we're going to have guest bloggers too. In fact, our friend Kate, who made the astronumeric calculator, has a few posts of her own as well on here that uses astronumeric to dive deeper into the astrology of a lot of these things. And these are really great posts. And Cody, if you ever get into blogging, then we could probably get you an account on here too to do the same.
Okay. I mean, maybe I will think about that at some point. I don't know about right now, but I mean, maybe in the future that will be something I gravitate towards more. Who knows? I think it's something I should do. I should be more also documenting things. And I've been keeping better notes recently and again, I want to thank Kate again for all I love her tool, and I every day I'm glad to have it. So, and the fact that I have my notepad in there, I have my dates in there, I have in the astrology charts, I haven't even gotten into trying to figure out, I haven't had enough time to fully dive into that yet, but there's so much in that tool that I really appreciate all the work she put into to get that.
Yeah, there was actually an update she made recently so that there's like full-blown chart analyses now.
Oh, so really?
Pull up your birthday. It'll dive deep into like each individual planet, the houses, the aspects. It's as deep as anyone could want. And I think the price we're offering it for is pretty good, considering that most astrology software that does anything near this is probably twice or more the price.
Yeah. And plus everything else that comes with it. I mean, this is one of the best tools on the internet, in my opinion.
Yeah, so. I totally agree. But, the thing with blogging, like I did videos for, a lot of people don't know I did videos for, I think, a year before I actually started blogging. Like that was never really my intent. It was just to create tools to help other people blogging. But then I realized how much I enjoyed it. And something about writing, I think, definitely puts things in your long-term memory a little better. And it's always good to have something like a page that you can reference to and link to for past decodes. It really is helpful for organizing. It's tough to do this and also do slides for the videos like you're doing. So it might not be your style, but I think, if it's somewhere you just want to jot notes down or throw out some little nuggets, we'd be happy to have you on there.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. And I think that I think that now I have become more of a note taker because of this tool, this notes pad thing. I have,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is I always forget to look at it too. I have notes here that I probably missed, like see the Chuck Norris thing, how he died at 31,421 days. That was King Charles' or Queen Elizabeth's birthday. Texas Ranger debuted on 4/21, 1993. And of course, I like Bruce Lee, he was born in Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Texas Ranger had 203 episodes, but I put that down before I knew he died at March 19th, but technically in most of the world he died 23. So it's kind of like the date he died. I found it interesting that, and this is another one. Chuck Norris was born 5,073 days after Queen Elizabeth. And that's, again, Prince of Darkness 573, Chuck Norris 573. Let's see. I'm just glad you reminded me of these notes. That's why I'm just going over it real fast to make sure I didn't miss anything that I had in here. But I think that's all. But anyway, the point was I really appreciate Kate for putting this tool together, which kind of has helped me to want to take more notes because I'm able to jot down things in here and as I'm going through, and then I kind of make them into slides. It's a lot of work, but still I appreciate everything here, and just being able to have all my dates calculated or in here, how many dates do I have in here now? It's growing every day. So
Nice.
how many do you use this a lot still right now? Are you still using the other one?
Well, to build my decodes, like to make my posts, I'm still using my original tools. Astronumeric is me poking around with all the different dates and everything. I've been so locked into my habit for so long. It's really hard for me to switch up. And yeah. I'm at the point where I'm also not looking for more content. I'm looking to more refine it. Maybe I feel like maybe I'm already too far down the number rabbit hole where, I see enough that I can cover a full post, but there's so much more to unpack and just make sense of. I mean, everything we talk about, if we're not already discussing an astrological element to it, one exists. And, only more and more is going to come to light. But yeah, I mean, I know I love how everything's laid out there. The way the different.
Well, again, I would have never seen that 6/11, 9/11 connection on that. I kind of knew something was going to go down on that day, that 2/28, because it was 9/11 on the Islamic calendar and 6/11 on the Hebrew calendar. It's just and that only happens like once every, I think, like 33 years or something like that. So that alignment. So that kind of stuff, that kind of extra additions to kind of see things. Like I said, there's so much more I haven't even probably been able to put together yet, but I think over time it will become even more useful. So, and Casey Jones just dropped in, I think.
Woo woo!
What's up, Bobby?
Hey.
What's up? So did you have some extra stuff that you wanted to add real fast?
Yeah, I think I had like 2 or 3 things I just want to throw out there.
All right.
I picked up on that Pearl Harbor stuff because of the Venus count. It was, or today is the 137 Venus years after Pearl Harbor, and LeBron James, he turned 67 Venus years old today as well. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, I remember you mentioned that. And so LeBron James is on a Venus count. Okay, that 137. Yeah. I'm glad you reminded me of that because I didn't jot that in my notes. And great find with the Martian thing too, with the 28 between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. So is that LeBron or wait? So LeBron was born exactly. Wait, so LeBron equals Pearl Harbor, and he was born exactly 70 Venusian years after Pearl Harbor?
That's what it looks like.
Huh. Well, that makes a little bit of sense because that symbol that Prince has is called the love symbol. Venus also connected to Lucifer, right? Wow. Okay. That kind of just hit me how that all fits. So exactly 70. So yeah, the Venus thing here is big. What else you got, Bobby?
Wonder if he's lost reception.
Yeah, sometimes he drops out.
Well, that'll be doing it for me though, Cody. I got to run.
Okay, I'm just gonna stay on for a
Yeah.
few more minutes anyway. But I appreciate you coming on, Derek. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I thought you did a great job today. Big news story with Chuck Norris. So good work on getting it out today. I know people definitely wanted to hear all about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'll have more on this most likely. But yeah, I'm glad we were at least able to get it out today.
Oh, did I drop off for a second?
Yeah, you were out. You were dropped off. But
Oh,
anyway,
no,
Derek, I'll let you go,
okay.
Derek.
All right. Well, now that Bobby's back, I'm peacing out. So thanks, everybody.
All right.
And we'll talk to y'all soon.
See you.
All right. See ya.
Oh, I was just saying, seemed like the 93 NBA Finals were relevant because that's the same year Walker, Texas Ranger premiered, and you had Charles Barkley was in those finals. He goes by Chuck. And
Right.
today was 393 months after. That's the big eclipse number.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but that Venus thing, I don't know if you heard us, but that Venus thing, that's huge because, LeBron born 70. LeBron equals Pearl Harbor. He's born exactly 70 Venusian years after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Seven by itself, that's a big Venus number. You have the magic square, the 7 by 7. Today's Friday. Right. It's the Venus Day.
Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Venus Day. And actually, when Randy Rhoads died in that plane crash, that was on a Friday also. So, yeah, and Trump born on a Friday. Let's see, William was born on a Monday, on a moon day. But yeah, that Venus stuff is big, guys. I mean, again, it's been a while since I talked about Venus years on here, but that's really something to think about. Think about the phrase "all is fair in love and war." The Crowley Show, Strange Angel. The front of the show has love. If you look at the front of that cover, you can see the front of the cover is "Love is War." So I really think that there is a whole love is war riddle here because you have Venus, you have the Martian stuff, the war. Remember that movie came out on Trump's birthday, June 14th, 2018. Hello, Betty. I think we lost Casey again. Yeah, we lost Casey again. Are you there?
Yeah, where did I leave off at?
You were just, the last thing I think you said was Venus, the connection with the 7 magic square. I think that's the last thing I heard you say.
Okay, yeah.
What else did you have?
Well, I think Texas Walker, Texas Ranger. I felt like there's a connection to Texas and the Queen and Prince because there's the tallest Masonic obelisk in the world is in Texas. It's the San Jacinto Monument, which points to the reflecting pool that comes out from that monument points to the Trinity nuclear test site. Anyways, that commemorates a battle that was on April 21st of 1836. That's exactly 90 years before the Queen was born. And of course, Prince, he died on the Queen's 90th birthday. So
right. So, and I know you've talked about that a lot, but that April 21st, and of course that's Rome's founding day too, they say.
Okay.
Because when Pope Leo or Pope Francis died last year, it was on the anniversary of Rome. So that 421 day is a huge day, essentially. And as just so you guys can see what Bobby Simpson's pointing out. Yeah, San Jacinto was the April 21st. So I'm really wondering here too if there's should probably look more into this as well. Well, it looks like it said there was 1360 men in this. Huh. Crazy. That goes with the 1360 eclipse code. You still there, Casey?
Yeah, I'm still here. Did I mention the Kamala turning her Mercury age tomorrow?
Yeah, you mentioned that. You didn't
Okay.
mention that on here, but you mentioned that in the.
Oh yeah. We know in when Trump was in Butler, Pennsylvania, that was on her Mercury birthday.
Yeah.
That 7/13/2024, and then tomorrow she turns 255 tomorrow, and that she also turns 737 months old, which is like makes you think of the 737 Max plane crashes.
Yeah, and it's 61 years. She'll be 61 years, 152 days old, which is that 152. That's a huge Kamala Harris number.
Yeah, I think that female presidents 152 and
Kamala Devi Harris 152, Joe Biden 152, colonoscopy. She took over when Biden had that colonoscopy. That equals 152. But yeah, that's interesting because as Bobby said, it was on her Mercury birthday that Trump got taken out or got clipped in the ear. So, and that 255, where have we talked about that before? 255 is,
I think
the 322. 322 is the 255 composite.
okay. Yeah, I think Sean's got some good stuff on that. And Queen Elizabeth was born 255 Venus years after the Revelation 12 sign. So
That's right.
Like kind of a Venus number. Rose, there's the Venus Rose. Rose is the 255 in the English extended cipher.
Right. Let me just see if I have any recent 255s that have come up in my gematria. Just trying to go through my most recent entries. Oh, Prince of Darkness 255. Just talked about that. Oh, Liber Alvel Legis.
Okay.
So the Book of the Law, I've been talking about that all week. The Book of the Law equals 255. Rose equals 255. What was the name of Aleister Crowley's wife? Rose. Satan equals 255. So.
Oh, you were on to that 1611 yesterday with LeBron, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then I think today, or I guess yesterday with the span would have been 1611 days after the Rust shooting.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if y'all got to that, but it's kind of the Mars is with the Mars thing. That's like Mars is the rusty planet. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's probably a huge thing I should probably look into too. I'm probably gonna have to do a part 2 on some of this stuff.
Yeah. I'm exhausted myself. I've been crunching numbers all day. And again with that, the 28 Martian years with Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, Texas is the 28th state. So.
Yeah, there's a huge Texas riddle here that I probably haven't even connected yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, guys, for those of you in the chat that are still here, and I really appreciate the people that are still here. Don't forget to hit those like buttons, guys.
And then was it Bush Senior? Bush Junior. He was like a majority owner for the Rangers for a while back in the 90s.
Well, there for sure has to be a huge riddle here with George W. Bush.
Yeah.
I don't think Derek and I don't think anyone really looked into it yet, but I know there has to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to come on and throw a few extra things out there.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna get off here now too, actually. But it was good to be able to get people on here and put some of this together.
Yeah, it's been a while since I hopped on a live. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been a while since Derek's been on too, so
Yeah.
I'm just glad it was able to.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Well, have a good rest of your night, Bobby. Take a good rest, and we'll catch up later.
All right, see you, Cody.
All right, man. Take care. And to those of you in the chat, thanks to everyone that was here, and thanks also to Widow's Son, who made some amazing connections also in the chat. Also, Widow's Son had talked a lot about the 1692 connection, which I didn't have time to get to. There's a bunch more, but we'll cover this stuff more later. I don't want you guys to get completely tired of the stream. I don't want to go too long here. Gary says, who are we and what is this place? It's a good question. But thank you all. Please hit that likes as you're hit the likes on the way out, and make sure you guys go to the other channels and hit the likes too. Zenith of the Alpha, Casey Jones Astrology, Gematrinator, Widow's Son, Jurassic Liars. Make sure you guys go hit those like buttons for all those other channels as well. And I will see you guys in another decode, all right? Take care and God bless you.